Today I'm going to be looking at the major update schedule for next year, and Jagex have released some information on some of them and when to expect them out, including the Tombs of a Musket. The first thing that they have announced is 2 new quests. The first one is the Land of the Goblins, which is next in the Goblin questline after Goblin Diplomacy, the Lost Tribe, Death to the Dorgeshin, and Another Slice of Ham. This quest, providing it passes the polls, will be out in February and will be an experience level quest. I will put the requirements and rewards up on screen now, so if you don't want to see those, look away for the next 5 seconds or so. Anyone that looked away, feel free to look back now. These stats are very similar to RS3's version of this quest, and they even mention that this quest was partially done in the archives, so it looks like it's the same quest as RS3, but they will be tweaking it slightly. And the next quest is Beneath Cursed Sands, which is a sequel to Contact and will also be a pre-requirement to be able to do Raids 3, The Tombs of a Musket. So if you want to get ready for this as soon as it is out, I recommend completing the Contact quest. Raids 3 release date was scheduled for the beginning of 2022, but the quest release date is April next year, so that is the earliest Raids 3 can be out. However, it is entirely possible that the quest and Raids 3 are out at exactly the same time, so look out for both of those coming out in April. The requirements and rewards for Beneath Cursed Sands quest are as follows. Again, look away if you don't want to see these. It's considered a master level quest, but the stats required really aren't that high at all, but with it unlocking a raid, it's likely that there will be some very difficult fights within that quest. Those who looked away can now look back as we look at the raid itself. Groups of up to 8 will be able to complete the raid with 4 initial challenges followed by a twin boss encounter. It seems that they think they have found a way to stop Wooks from soloing a raid by requiring 2 bosses to be fought in 2 separate rooms at exactly the same time. But they obviously don't know Wooks very well, as he will just go God mode and play 2 accounts at exactly the same time. I'm just kidding, he won't be on 2 accounts because he'll also be leveling his ult on a 3rd at the same time. In Raids 3 they are introducing an interesting mechanic which is something called invocations, and this allows you to make a raid easier or harder, with the higher difficulties increasing the chance of better loot. Which sounds like a good way to learn, but knowing the RuneScape community, it won't be long before very few people do anything other than the hardest tier possible. The harder settings don't just increase a boss's damage and health, but they also reduce your health, defense, and the amount you heal when using food or potions, or even stop you from using certain spells within the raid. I'm only guessing, but I think this may be a spell that is a useful mechanic within a raid rather than a high level damage spell. For example, removing Crumble Undead of Vorkath would make the zombie undead spawn far more difficult, and I suspect it may be something similar to that. The next part of the raid that they discuss is the paths that you can choose. The 4 challenges that they speak about are 4 different paths that you must clear. Each path consists of a series of challenges such as puzzles, agility courses similar to the sepulchre dodging, or defeating foes in unique ways before ending in a boss encounter. The interesting part about this is you must complete all 4 paths, and after each path you get a buff or debuff which may increase or decrease damage, healing, or other stats. That means choosing paths in the correct order is a massive part of this raid, and although it doesn't say so, we can assume that we will know before choosing a path, so it will either tell us, or the buffs and debuffs will always be the same every single raid. After you have completed those 4 paths and bosses, you will then be able to go to the lower level, which has 2 final bosses in 2 separate encounters that must be completed at the same time. Finally, one last thing that they mentioned was something I'm quite excited by, but I know a lot of people will hate this as it's very World of Warcraft. One of the rewards for completing the Beneath the Cursed Sands quest is a weapon called the Keras Partisan. Feel free to look away now if you don't want to see this spoiler, but the stats really aren't that great. Although they do mention it will be very useful in Raids 3, looking at the stats that seems more likely because of a specific mechanic because it isn't that powerful in itself. However, the World of Warcraft bit is that they are adding a gem slot, and you will be able to put in gems that you can get from completing the Tombs of a Musket. Now, I understand why some people will absolutely hate this, but old school RuneScape will never be World of Warcraft, and if you limit your own game because a successful mechanic is being used in another game, it's only old school RuneScape players that lose out, but that's just my opinion. There will be a choice of gems, and this will add a ton of variety into the game, providing they can get the balance right. There will be no point adding 3 gems, one with plus 10 defense, one with plus 10 attack, and one with plus 10 strength, for example, as the strength gem would just become the meta. I did a how to fix PvP video a while back, which I will link below, which included gems just like this, so let me know your thoughts on them. That's all the information we have so far, but no doubt Jagex will be releasing another update at the start of the new year, so stay posted and I will update you as soon as that one comes out.